But we have to come
What?
to the virtually anything goes question. I've dragged this out long enough. I've been sort of dreading this slightly, but so for our listeners again, if you haven't seen the Virtually Anything Goes podcast before, the Virtually Anything Goes question is where I turn it over to Sam. Sam can ask me any question she likes on any topic she wants, and I have to answer it. The only caveat is she has to answer it afterwards, after I've given my response as well. So Sam, control is entirely with you now. Go ahead.
Now, Lev, if you need some time to think about this, I can give you my answer first, but I'm going to ask you for your top five, one of your top five most embarrassing moments of your life. Now, I can't give you my first most embarrassing moment because it is not safe for work, but I can give you my second most embarrassing moment. But I would love to hear about one of yours if you know them offhand, and if not, I can share mine first.
No, I do.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, there is one that isn't safe for this podcast either. But there's another one.
We'll exchange those at a pub sometime.
Yeah. Might not be safe for that either. No, it's so this happened when I was on 24, when we were both there, and I normally don't come up so quickly with the answer to these questions, but this one stands out as so embarrassing. And everybody here knows it as well. I've told it before, but anyway. So I was talking. I was in sales at the time as well, and I was just completed a great demo, even if I say so myself, for a potential new customer, big company, big consulting firm, and the gentleman on the other line was, I think, suitably impressed, very responsive, asked loads of questions, seemed to like what we were doing, and we got to the end of the call, and I was so close of having a great call. And what I meant to say at the end of the call was, lovely, thank you. And what came out was, love you. And all I heard on the other side, on the phone, was just a snortle of, I don't know what it was. But and then he hung up. And I was like, oh, my word.
No, this is a pro move. You definitely closed the deal. There's no way.
Well, I mean, what happened in the immediate aftermath, everybody in the office popped their heads up from behind their screens and said, did he just say love you? Who was he on?
Did you just say love you?
He just did a demo. Why did he say love you? So highly embarrassing. Everybody was laughing. And I thought, okay, well, look, I've got to rescue this. I'm going to email this gentleman back and just explain, exactly what I just said. I meant to say lovely, thank you. Love you came out really inappropriate. So sorry. Perhaps we can have another call. And silence. And, I tried again, leaving a voicemail, really grovelly voicemail, just really apologizing and saying sorry. No, I've never heard from this gentleman again.
Oh, come on. There's no way this person was that offended. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, maybe he didn't like the demo as much as I thought he did. But that was, highly embarrassing. And, I mean, 20 years.
I can imagine Harris sat there standing up in his three-piece suit and saying, did you just say love you in the office? And asking you inquisitively. That's hysterical. Yeah, We've all been there.
Well, since then, I've changed my wording. I don't use lovely anymore in calls just because of that reason.
It's too easy to trip up.
Yes.
But mine is not a work one, but it was I was at a nail salon getting my nails done, and I am a big fan. Good show me, you know me tidbit. I'm a big fan of Seinfeld, and I still watch all of the shows on reruns. And when I'm getting my nails done, I can't read my book, I can't look at anything, so I always bring my little iPod with me, and I watch Seinfeld reruns or whatever show I'm bitching. And I happened to be watching a show at the time, an episode that was it's the Chinese restaurant one. If you're familiar with it, it's when they're waiting and waiting and waiting to be called in, and it seems like everybody gets seated over them. Mm-hmm. And at some point, Sherry offers Elaine $50 if she will go in to the restaurant, pick up an egg roll off somebody's table, eat it, and then walk away without saying anything. She looks at George and she says, should I do it? And he says, for $50, I'd put my face in somebody's soup and I'd blow. And to me, that is just one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And while I'm at the nail salon, I have my hands in paraffin wax, so I can't use them, right? They're gone. They're in these bags. And I'm listening to the show, and I also happen to have a cold. And so I laugh, try to keep it in. I go, and just this enormous rapture comes out of my nose. It is literally hanging like a yo-yo. The nail tech is just horrified. Everyone's looking at me. I can't do anything. One of my top most embarrassing moments.
I'm assuming you had earphones on, so nobody knew what was actually going on.
On my AirPods, yeah. I mean, literally, you think of this. You've got the AirPods in, you just hear, and then you see this eruption, and you've got hands. I mean, a disaster. So Had a good time. It always gives somebody a good laugh.
Excellent. How long ago was this? Have you been back there since?
I've never been back, and thankfully the nail salon is closed. So it's been probably about 5 years.
Right.
It was definitely before the pandemic, but a good time nonetheless.
Maybe telling a prospective customer that you love them, it's not as bad. Now looking at
See,
yours.
you're in good shape.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, I mean, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for sharing that voluntarily. I didn't even ask you about that. So,
My pleasure.